So my name is Chuck Bining. I'm with FlexCNC, and I'm going to be going over the Delta Tau Pro page here. The just a general overall view of what you see here, and general description of what the things are. We have a login up here. You can log out, and you can log back in. We also have administrator and a password. Administrator and password is for us. You have operator and a technician. Each one's going to have different levels of access to different things. So technician will be able to change programs, and operator's going to be able to hit cycle start and make some changes to the offsets if they needed to. Up here, this is the main page. This is kind of where we're going to be basically working from most of the time. There are other pages that you're going to be using, but on this page, you have the main buttons that you're going to be using, from programming to setup to anything else that you need. Along the top here, we have our program position, we have our relative position, which we can zero out, so you can, it's kind of the operator position, if you will. You reset it, and then you can move so far and see how far you moved. Machine position, that is from your home position. So G53, if you wanted to go from halfway down the machine, so you can actually have op 1, op 2 pendulum mode. You want to get the machine out of the first zone, but not quite into the second zone. You can kind of stop it halfway in between, and that would be a maybe a G53 X 120 inches on a 20-foot machine. So it moves down to that point. It's referring back to the home position. And then you have the command. And the command is just basically the what the program is going to be telling the machine where to go to from your work offset. These positions will jump around from different modes. So normally in Otto, you'd be in the program. As soon as you jumped into a tool change, it'll jump over to the machine position just for a few seconds while it does the tool change, comes out, jumps back over to the program position. It has nothing to do with the actual process of what the machine is doing. It's just how it's keeping track. You have torque. You also have distance to go, and that's a very handy one to have when you're setting up. Over here we have our tool release for the manual buttons. We also have these feed rate and rapids. On this machine here, these are grayed out. They're not being used here because we have a hand pendant, and the hand pendant overrides that. If we had the hand pendant and this, you could be doing 100% here at 50% on the dial. Don't work out that way. So that's why we have it grayed out here, and then we can control it with our hand pendant knob. The spindle up and down, you can increase it up to, I forget offhand, you can increase it to 120% or 125% and then drop it down. Depending on the machine you have, if you have a gearbox or not. If you have a gearbox and you're at 1500 RPMs and you drop down to 20%, it's not going to let you drop down below 1,000 because the gear change is at 1,000. You can come down to 1,000, but until you actually tell it to go into a lower gear, boom, then from there you'll go lower yet. It's just a matter of working with the tool, with the gearbox to determine whether or not you're going to be down that point or you have to go lower. But it's actually clockwise, counterclockwise. They highlight, they light up. We also have a manual tool change button. It works. Personally, I like doing the MDI. I'm a little old school, but it works. Tool set, or tool calibrate, I should say, and then spindle calibrate. The spindle calibrate is, you're not going to use that too often. Something happens to the tool calibrating switch that you have to do something with, you know, the switch goes bad, coolant gets in there or something, then yes. If somebody crashes and you just kind of want to double check things, you can run the spindle calibration, and then it knows from home position how far down that tool setter is going to be. The auto mode over here, that jumps between this auto, MDI, and manual. It just bounces you back and forth. Again, you can go back and forth over here just as well as up there. It's kind of an easy way of, okay, I'm done, I'm going to go to auto and just drop right down into cycle start. Let's see here. Auto, on this page, you can make some changes. You can edit the program. But as soon as you make a change, it's asking you if you want to save it. It will ask. If you hit cycle start without saving it, it's going to give you a dialog. Do you want to save it before you start? But since I did make a change, even if I just did that little space and back up, I still got to save it. I can clear the NC file and then load an NC file from here as well. Now, you can make changes again, like I said, you can edit, but it's not really edit savvy. Yes, you can make some changes, you can add lines, you can even copy and paste. But if you're going to be going from one program to another, copying a section out of here to put in this section over here, you're going to want to do that in the edit page. There's a lot more flexibility in there. Find, go to line, mid-program start. It's a nice one when you're walking a program through. It's just a matter of where you want to start at. Like on here, we have M6 here, mid-program start. I want to start at this line. Now, I'm a little bit old school. I always like to put the tool in the spindle myself through the MDI, and then come down to tool change is already done. I'm going to pick up on this next line, mid-program start, and go up to cycle start and just carry on. That's just my own preference, though. It will pick up on other lines too, don't worry. But that's what I found to be a preferred way for me to do it. I like it. Again, if you double click on it, it turns it back off. Again, MDI, manual data input. This is not case sensitive, and you can actually add on lines if you want. So if you have, whoops, M3, capital letters, lowercase letters, it doesn't really matter. Again, I'm old school. I always like capital letters. You can, in this mode, you can actually do this single block. I like doing tool changes from here and telling it to go to the spindle calibration, or not really spindle calibration, tool setter. I always like going to the tool setter from this page as well. Manual. Manual is, again, your X, Y, Z. These are the different speeds, one being the slowest, and they each gradually pick up faster and faster. Again, X, Y, Z, and the carousel, tool carousel. You can actually jog that on our GRD. The tool carousel is actually a servo motor, so you can actually jog it around if you wanted to. Don't worry if you go back to auto and you do a cycle start and you're telling it to put a tool away, it'll rotate back to the right position and put the tool away. Again, you have the plus and negatives, jog plus, jog negative. And these buttons will correlate with how fast you have it set. If you have it set for 1 and you hit X positive, negative, it's going to go really slow. But you don't have an actual control as to how far you move. That's where incremental is kind of nice. Incremental down here, I can tell it to move each time with these buttons here, plus or negative 10 thousandths. I could have my spindle turned on, turn on my spindle up there, and then bring my X over, plus, 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 click, click. The machine will move each click 10 thousandths. I could be standing at the door looking away from the panel and still be clicking. As soon as I get close, then I can come back to the control and say, okay, I want to back that off to a thou, turn back around and look at the edge finder and just kind of click away again. It's kind of nice that way. As long as I'm on that button, it's going to move what I tell it to. You can even go down to half a thousandths if you needed to. When you turn a machine on, some of our older machines have a 5S drive, I believe it is. I'm not sure. Anyway, some of the older drives, you still have to home out. So you have to click on Z, tool changer and home. Z, home. And when you do that, you'll get this bar. Controls homing it. It doesn't mean that it's doing anything wrong. It's just homing the carousel out. Sometimes when you have a long machine and the machine is way down at the end, you may run out of that bar timeline before it actually gets homed out. If you do, just home it again and it'll continue on. Work offsets, right now they're highlighted, they're opened up. If I was to go from auto to work offsets, it's grayed out. You can't do anything, kind of a safety. If you're in the middle of a program, you make a change to the work offset, yeah, you don't want to do that. So we have it set up to where you have to be in manual first, then you can go into work offsets. The work offsets can be set by highlighting it and picking your axis. Okay, that's what I want to set it. I need to make an adjustment, so I highlight it, plus or negative 0.1. And it's giving you that last chance. Hey, you sure you want to do this? Question. Okay. You can do the same thing with Y and Z. The And each one you can just simply add right with it. We have quite a few work offsets. We have our standard 54, 55, 56, yes. And we have our extended work offsets, P1 through 100. Now, P100 is for our tool calibrator, tool setter. We reserve that one for that. So if you way down at the other end of the machine and you want to tell it to go to that position, you can do it in MDI and just say, okay, G54, P100, X0, Y0, and it's going to be going to this work offset. And we also have several work offsets reserved. What I would say reserved is the work offsets are there. You can use them anytime you want. But we reserve, I believe it's the last 10. P90 on down for different things. P100 being our tool setter. For P90 on through P99, we reserve for outside of the carousel tool pockets, odd shaped tools, your 90-degree heads. You can have up to, I believe, 9. And once you have the pocket on the table, you have it all set up, it'll be, when you tell it to do that, when you tell it to do a tool change from the tool in the carousel to one of these outside the pockets, it'll drop the carousel tool in the carousel off and then go all the way up and then travel over to the external pocket and then come down and pick it up. The reason we have so many of them is because you never know. Alrighty. But again, I don't think we're going to be running out of work offsets anytime soon. Tool offsets, they're pretty standard across the board as far as what you'd see in other controls. I mean, you have the tool length, you have the tool wear on the length, you have the tool diameter, and you have the tool diameter wear. Each one can be added into, so you want to go plus 0.01, simple enough. You can set it by going, okay, we need negative 5 inches. You have negative there, or maybe if you're programming how you have it programmed, maybe you have a 1/2 inch end mill in there, and it's been reground 20 thousandths. Possibility. So we have the tools all set up as ready to go, and you're not sure what it is, so you just come over here and give it a name. Reground end mill. You can name it whatever you want. If you wanted to, you can go 0.5, back up there. 1/2 inch end mill, or 1.5 inches, or it's a carbide Kennametal tool for a certain job. It's a 3/8 counterbore tool. It's a 1/8" engraving tool. Whatever you need it to be, as long as you understand what that little thing means. I actually had one time at my old job, oddly enough, at my old job, I actually had one of the tools that I made up for somebody to use. Let's see here. So that's the tool offsets. Production, you have time and dates and run time and total time and parts required, parts counter, parts counter that you can kind of control for bumping the counter. And then you also have the total cycle time. I believe we can change some of this to add or remove depending on your requirements. I'm not too familiar with that, but there's a lot of information there that you can extract. The alarm page, any alarm that you would have would be popping up here, and you'd hit reset, and everything normally go away. The optional stop, if you have an MO1 in the program, when it reads it, it's going to, when it's active, it'll look for the MO1, and when it reads it, comes up to that line, it'll stop. Single block, block skip, dry run. Over on this side, getting back to the editor here, here's where you can look at the program, make your changes, open up a different file, copy, go back to this one, paste. You can start out with a new one if you wanted to. You can save it as something else. That's kind of a nice thing. You made a big change. You got all this new stuff in the program. Do you want to save it as what you running, or do you want to save it as a new program altogether? Find works quite well. Normally these two are highlighted, turned on. Turn those off. Then you can find you'll find it right away. You can replace things a lot faster that way too. It's just the way Microsoft Windows is looking at it and is trying to look for specific. If you don't match it up, if you uncheck them, you're good to go. Parse is basically how the machine is reading the code. Bring it on down here. And if you see closed, it read the program. It reads everything in there. Doesn't mean you didn't make a mistake. Doesn't mean you didn't make a mistake with the numbers that you put in there in the program. Like if you telling it to go feed Z-1 and you accidentally tell it to G0-1, that you can't help. It's pretty simple. It's just reading the code and doing what makes sense to it. But it does help you with trying to find errors. So I made turn that off. I made a change. I'm going to save it. Okay, maybe I copied and pasted an extra decimal point in there somewhere. There's something wrong. It's not over here. It's not in the parse page. So now you know there's something wrong. Go back, save it. There it is. Again, with the kind of looking at this, anything in parentheses is a comment. You can have multiple comments in a line. It doesn't really like the double parentheses. So, and that's kind of a standard thing on machines, I believe. But here, it'll work. It just kind of throws that out there as a little goofy thing in the program. I like it though. I mean, it's quite well. The macros. Oh, I made a change. Yes, I'll save it. Then you can go on to the different page. And that same thing will be that I had made a change in that line on that column. So there's something wasn't right. I made a change and I fixed it. Okay, here we go. What was I getting at? Yeah, if you make a change here, you have to save it. If you go from making a change here right to cycle start, it's going to ask you. So it's always going to ask you to save it if you made a change. Macros, you have your local variables here. You have your common ones. And you have your 500s and 600s and so on up. For some of you that have been in the machining business for a while, you know what the macros are. You may not like them. You may not be comfortable with them. But you have an idea what they are. For all you, the new people out there, macros are a very powerful tool. And quoting Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. So test your programs out before you let somebody else run. Test every which way you can. These are writable. You can actually put things in there, I believe. No, you can't. I'm sorry. Or can you do that with the 500s? Nope. So there's your macros. The inputs are for the exterior things, your tool setter, your pump, different things like that. Just, you can actually kind of help diagnose what may be going on. If the light curtain or the coolant tank level is low, or maybe it's filled up but the switch isn't being made, you should just be able to help you diagnose what the problem is. Outputs, again, inputs and outputs, kind of a standard thing on for us. Through other machines, they have different outputs and input pages. We have ours. The manual control for chip conveyor on, off, and when you drop the Allen wrench in there, you can back it up and get your Allen wrench out. You have your coolant on, tool door open, zero up and down. The nice thing about the manual page is that when you go and you're on the main page and you're in Otto and you're running the program and you're bringing it down and you got coolant spraying all over you, kind of want to double check something, see if the distance to go is looking right, but you can't tell because of all the coolant flowing. Feed hold, come over here and go down to the manual control and turn the coolant off. You're not leaving the auto page. You're just going to manually turn the coolant off so you can go back to the main page and continue on bringing the tool down. Once you're down there where you're comfortable, okay, that looks right. It should be good to go. Go back, turn it on, and then continue on with your machining. For the most part, that pretty much covers things. If you have any comments, please reach out to us through our website. We also have a phone number, 1-800-837-2503. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. Anyway, hope this helps you and hopes you have a good day.